This week on XOP's Whitetail Addiction, we join 3 addicts from 3 different walks of life. But all 3 have the same addiction for hunting big, mature, giant whitetails. Get ready to be addicted. XOP presents Whitetail Addictions. XOP presents Whitetail Addictions.
Hi, my name is Todd Myers. I was brought up in a small town in Merton, Wisconsin, southeast Wisconsin. Taught the trade of painting by my father at an early age. Pursued that for a career for the rest of my life. It was the only job I could do where I could have off as much as I needed to for my hunting and fishing addictions. I started bow hunting at a young age, about 12 years old. By the age of 22, I found out that I was just too obsessed with hunting to keep a regular job, so I decided to go into business by myself. It was the only way I could schedule enough time off to follow my addiction to whitetails and for pursuit of happiness, I guess. I'm not one guy who can sit in the office or do something 12 months a year. I remember when I was 12 years old, I shot my first deer with a bow. And I just couldn't believe the thing was only 10 feet from me, and I was shaking so bad that nothing never even came close to that feeling in my life after that, until I started pursuing large bucks, I mean huge whitetails. And when I was a kid, there were places to hunt everywhere, and then the subdivisions popped up, and it's not like it used to be. But that's why I travel around in pursuit for bigger bucks, better hunting. The first part of the hunting season in Wisconsin, I was hoping was going to be really good because I hunt a big water hole, and when the warmer the temperatures are, the more the deer flock to that water hole. But this year, there was a lot of fields that were turned over, a lot of crops that weren't planted. It was just a bad year for growing crops in the area, so I just decided to head to Illinois and see what I could do down there.
Well, it's October 30th, about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Really hazy day, perfect conditions for whitetails. They're going to be looking for bedded does. The rut's just starting to heat up, so I'm hunting a little water hole. Big bunch of fence lines cross here. See a lot of big bucks here in the past. So let's see if we can't get one on the ground.
Todd has been able to harvest some great bucks in this part of Illinois in the past, but Mother Nature has some different ideas in store for this season.
Out of the 15 days that I hunted, I've only seen 8 different does and 32 different bucks. None of them were shooters, but still gets your heart going. And the ones I passed up on video, it was still fun just getting the footage.
It's November 11th. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, November 12th. That's awesome. Got the blood going a little bit. Well, it's November 13th. It was way cool. shot that buck at 10 yards. It was November 14th. It was November 15th.
Right before I got there, 2 to 3 days before I got to Illinois, huge tornadoes had devastated the area just north of where I hunt. I think that affected the deer movement quite a bit also. After I finally realized that my hunt in Illinois wasn't coming together as planned, I decided to race back to Wisconsin and give that one last chance because I know that area can be so red hot.
Well, it's the last day of the 2013 early archery season in Wisconsin. The conditions are absolutely perfect here. I've been in Illinois for hunting for 14 days, and the weather wasn't right. And they had a real bad case of the blue tongue down there, wiped out most of the deer herd. So I figured I'd wait till later in the season when they get congregated in the food sources, and I'll go back after those. But I knew the bucks were running at home here, so I decided to pull a pin and run up here.
I got into my stand and the wind was absolutely perfect for where you expect the deer to come from, where I usually see them come from. But on this certain day, the wind switched to exactly what I didn't want it to do at the exact time that that buck showed up. And if the wind wouldn't have switched, I would have never got the shot at it. It actually saved me.
Todd has this great Wisconsin buck out in front of him, locked up with a hot doe. He just needs to hope the doe comes into range, and she'll drag this big boy right behind her and into Todd's shooting lane.
When I first seen the buck chasing the doe, I was kind of like, you gotta be kidding me. This is the last day. It's all gonna happen for me. And when it did, I couldn't believe it. After I shot and I seen his reactions just as he was about to leave the screen, I seen the deer actually stumble a little bit. And generally whitetails don't stumble, so I was pretty sure that I had made a solid hit on the whitetail.
Beautiful buck came in chasing a doe, nice 145 class whitetail. I thought he was a little bigger. Came right down the fence line following a doe. The wind was out of the southeast at like 15 miles an hour, which is usually perfect for the stand. And right before I shot him, the wind switched to the north. And it's like almost dead calm out here. And if that wind wouldn't have switched, I never would have got the shot at those deer because they went straight downwind of me, and the wind switched 10 minutes before it happened. Thank you, Lord. Yes, I knew I could get it done. Let's go check them out.
I got down and went over there looking. Didn't find my arrow, but I started looking around and I found a nice trail of blood. Led me right to him.
That's the very last day of the 2013 Wisconsin bow season. And I got it done. Got lucky. The conditions were perfect for me. It made me work for it this year. Haven't had much success earlier. But sometimes when the conditions are right, his unlucky day becomes your lucky day. Awesome. Everybody else is shooting them. Cody DeCristo, 2 big ones. Good job, Cody. Awesome. Now I'll get one in Illinois. On with the show. Yeehaw!
I grew up in southern Ohio, and I'm fortunate enough to work at a shutdown uranium enrichment plant not far from my home. I have a wonderful wife that understands my whitetail addictions. I also have 2 beautiful little girls that love to hunt and fish and enjoy the outdoors. Growing up on a small farm, I spent a lot of time outdoors. At an early age, my dad started taking me rabbit and squirrel hunting. And one morning, coming back from squirrel hunting, my uncle, who was a bow hunter, had shot this buck. After seeing the buck, I just could not believe that he took a bow and arrow and killed such an animal. I started spending all my spare time trying to find, pattern, and kill big bucks. And over the years, I've been fairly successful with it. I wanted to expand my hunting opportunities. So in the early 2000s, I started traveling to Iowa looking for land to hunt. I drew a tag in 2006, and on the very first morning of my hunt, I killed a great buck. I didn't draw another tag until 2009, and just like 2006, the very first morning of my hunt, I killed another great buck. I finally drew a tag again in 2013. The beginning of my hunt started off slow. I only seen a few small bucks, but the rutting activity was starting to pick up. The 1st of November, the buck started to move. I had numerous small bucks coming in, checking scrapes and spiring around, and I knew it was only a matter of time before the mature buck started moving. On November 3rd, the wind was scheduled to change. It had been coming out of the north and was supposed to change to the southeast. The morning was cool with 20-25 mile-an-hour winds. I was hunting the edge of a secluded bean field, and with all the foliage on the trees, I knew it was going to be tough seeing deer come in. Around 8:30, I looked down, and 15 yards away had a mature buck stepping out into the beans. I quickly reached over and turned the camera on and looked back, and the buck was starting to enter my shooting lane. All I had time to do was grab my bow and make the shot. Old mature, just a great buck. I'm so happy. I had all intentions of getting the kill on video, but in the heat of the moment and the buck moving through quickly, I chose to make the shot and not get the video. After killing a great buck in Iowa for my 2013 season, I was excited to get back to Ohio to see if I could get on another mature buck.
Hi, I'm Todd Myers with this week's tip. Paying attention to detail while setting up a stand. In this particular setup, it's in a woodlot with a lot of open hardwoods and not a lot of underbrush. You can pick just about any tree in here. There's quite a few of them that are good for the wind setup on the rim. What I like to do is find something with some cover. As you can see here, this particular stand set has a deadfall next to it. I set up screw-in steps to get to my sticks instead of having an obvious stick down low where deer can bump into that, because this is going to be a set that I'm going to leave for a long time and want to hunt for years to come. I also picked a tree that has a common base that breaks off, so as you can see, as you go up this tree, the sticks disappear and it's a little bit more cover for me once I get up in that tree. This is Andre DeQuisto with XOP Whitetail Addictions, and that's been your tip of the week.
When I got back to Ohio, I was more determined than ever to kill a mature buck on video. So in January, I had to refocus my efforts on a couple mature bucks that I'd had pictures of the last few years, and I'd felt had maxed out in antler growth and they weren't going to get any bigger. With a southwest wind, I had a stand that I needed to be in where the wind would be just off to the side to take full advantage of the deer movement. Okay, I hunted that cold front the other night. It came through, seen a bunch of deer, but I never had any good bucks come by me. I've seen one buck. He's a younger deer that I've been getting pictures of. He's about 155 inch. He come through about 90 yards, but it was too late to film. Good buck. He's young. I'm not targeting him. I got a couple other older ones I'm after. He's going to be a dandy next year if he makes it through the winter. It wasn't long after getting up into my stand that evening that the deer started moving. And I knew the way it was all working out that it was only a matter of time before a mature buck would make an appearance. Later on that evening, one of the mature 8-pointers that I was targeting entered the field.
This hit lister is coming in on a string. Now Heath has to maintain his composure and get ready for his opportunity.
He slowly fed down through a winter rye field and got within 20 yards. I had the camera rolling, got my bow, and drew back and made a 20-yard shot. The buck ran off, and I knew after he ran off that I'd hit him back just a tad and I was going to have to give him some time. Well, pretty good buck. He's old and mature. I got numerous pictures of him. Come right in here tonight. The weather is cold. After making the shot, I decided to let the buck go overnight because I did not see him go down and I'd hit him a tad back. This cold snap we've had here in Ohio the last couple of days, we had temperatures down to single digits and had these bucks moving. Real happy with this buck. Seen him the last few years and just hadn't grown too much, so I decided I got an opportunity. I was gonna take him and I'm glad I did. Nice buck. So excited to have killed a buck in Ohio that I'd had a history with for several years. My season had been great. Killed a mature buck in Ohio and a mature buck in Iowa. What else could you ask for?
Hi, my name is Jason Lewis. I'm 33 years old, born and raised in the great state of Georgia. I have a wife and one little daughter, 4 years old, Lindsay, and another son on the way any day now, Landon. I started hunting whitetails in Georgia when I was 11 years old with my dad, and ever since that time I have been pursuing big bucks all over the country. I work for Paragon Films, a stretch film manufacturer. I'm just an everyday kind of guy. Don't have too many hobbies besides chasing whitetails. That's about all I have time for. As far as a balance goes between family and an addiction to hunting big whitetails, if I'm not with my family or not at church, I am going to be in the woods somewhere, scouting, shed hunting, running cameras, setting up stands, practicing in the backyard with my bow, or my favorite thing to do, spending time with my girls. So when my addiction started was actually the first deer I took with my bow. I killed my first deer with my dad when I was 14 years old. And the third deer that I ever took was with my bow at 16 years old. At that moment, when I got down out of my tree stand shaking like a leaf, even though it was just a big old Georgia nanny, I knew I was hooked for life. So, to say 2013 was a tough year is an understatement, but we got after it hard. I had a couple good bucks on camera. We had seen a couple good bucks that we knew were shooters. The particular buck that I was hunting was a 7x4. He was a big wide 11-pointer. And I first actually saw him during shotgun season, second shotgun. I was hunting out of a ground blind, and I got into my stand about 20-30 minutes before dark, got everything set up, got the camera set up, and there was no wind. It was dead silent down in the woods. And long about 7:50, about 10 minutes till 8, I saw a group of does, and a few minutes later I actually caught movement up on the hill, and I saw this doe moving pretty quickly coming right to me, and this big buck was behind her, and they ran in on me right up under the stand at 24 yards, and this happened so quickly that I got caught by that doe moving my camera to put her and him in the frame. They were just about to step out into my shooting lane. She saw me. She ran up the lane. It's actually just a road in the middle of the woods used for tractors. And this doe stepped off into the woods about 60 yards out, and the buck is standing on the edge of the woods, and he's looking at her, and whatever she does, he's gonna follow. And I knew right away my hunt was probably over. I thought there's no way this deer's gonna turn around and come back out. This buck, he didn't see me, luckily, it was her. And she decided everything was okay. She wasn't sure what spooked her, and she decided to come back and cross this tractor lane. And when she did, I ranged her at 56 yards. He was, again, right behind her. He wasn't going anywhere without her. I stopped him with a couple grunts, and normally I don't like to take a shot that far. I knew he was spooked, so I settled my 50-yard pin right behind his shoulder. Everything happened so fast, it was a blur. When I shot, I saw him duck a little bit, I saw the arrow disappear, I sat there for a few minutes dumbfounded. I could not believe this just happened. What do we have here from this? But looky here. We got tracks. Oh yeah, good blood. Good blood here. I cannot tell you. I can't tell you the emotions right now. This it has been a long season here in Illinois. A long season. And EHD, whatever you want to call it, there's been a lot less bucks seen. I've hunted so hard. I thank my wife for letting me, my family for letting me come pursue this passion, because this is what it's all about. This is the next buck. This is the only buck I've tagged this year. I had to shoot him at 56 yards, had to grunt at him to stop it. He's with a doe. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's an 11 pointer. He's a 7x4. And I just couldn't be any happier right now with this deer. I saw him go into this block of timber. There's a tractor trail. And I seen him go into it. And I come in here and hung a stand at noon yesterday and took the shotgun. I didn't jump him or nothing. I couldn't find him, and I just hung my stand and backed out. I'm not moving this big animal by myself, but thank you guys for letting me share this with you. Thank you to all my family. This is just phenomenal.